welcome to another video here on the Critical Focus channel. First off, a big shout out to all my members who support my work, it keeps the paint flowing and the electricity running. Members do get access to the member Discord, will influence the content, the matchups, whatnot. There is a join button below if you feel so inclined. But regardless, I am happy for your support in the form of actually just watching the video, of a like and a comment, and if you haven't already, please do feel free to subscribe as well. And if you are looking to buy Warhammer merch, there is an affiliate link in the video description as well. Let's get on with the video. Alright, so it's time for fixing bad Warscrolls part 2, and it's one that has been requested from some folks that enjoyed the first part, and this one pertains to our favorite vamps, the Crimson Court. The Crimson Court was a rather strong warband in the previous iteration of the game, but hardly game-breakingly so. Very reliable, quick, and some strong arsenal of cards to go with them. And not least, you could sort of take them both the hungry or the inspired route, and perform almost equally well regardless of your choice there. And this video serves to highlight where the current Warscroll fails to hit the target, but let's first visit the fighter cards, which also has a few issues in my opinion. Duval and Gorath both sports a measly human baseline 3 move, and it's especially damaging for Duval since this is our most accurate fighter, and he also lacks the range to make up for it like Gorath does, in part at least, with that weaker range 2 option. I don't really think it fits either. Vampires are supposed to sport supernatural agility and speed, and it should reflect in their profile. I'm sort of fine with the more stoic, stocky Gorath being move 3 uninspired at least, but that's how far I'm willing to bargain. I do think Duval could have been allowed to keep his 2 shields as well inspired, especially now that the 1 dodge Enyas is hampered with 1 less health. To summarize, give Duval his old 4 move, keep Gorath on 3, fine, but let Enyas sport 5 move instead. He's supposed to be flying after all. But the fighter cards aren't the main issues with this warband, and with a decent enough Warscroll, they could have been minor issues. Let's visit then the dreaded Warscroll. First up, the Inspired. Let's just address the elephant straight away here. This is an awful mechanic, about the worst we've seen in Underworlds 2.0 in my opinion. Once per power step, you are allowed to gain control tokens equal to the number of treasure tokens you hold. But if you do so, you have to discard a power card, and after you've gained your 3rd control token, you discard them all and inspire 1 friendly fighter. That fighter is also no longer savage anymore if they happened to be. So I tried this once, and let me tell you, you run out of power cards very fast. Compare this to the exact opposite with Ilthari's Guardians, where you place cards from either your hand or your power card pile, and you always pretty much use your power card pile of course, and you slow grow these cards into your hand at a very steady, reliable pace, and it really highlights how god-awful this is. So it A, forces you to do something you're not particularly well equipped to do, namely hold treasure tokens, and B, forces you to discard a ton of cards if you want to inspire more than 1 fighter. I can't in my wildest dreams comprehend how they thought this would be a decent inspire mechanic. What would I have liked to see instead? Yeah, well, how about the exact same mechanic as before? Let all our fighters start with a single hunger counter, and at the start of every round, if you're still uninspired, gain another one. Once you have 3, you're savage. If you are savage, you get +1 move. Then for inspire, I would have liked to see adjacent kills enable a search ability to feed to remove all of your hunger counters. Once you have no hunger counters, you immediately inspire rather than at the end of the round like previously. The stagger upon getting savage for the measly bonus of +1 move to make up for it is rather punishing as well. Get rid of that crap, it's pretty bad. And then the abilities have a huge glaring weakness as well. Only 2 of them are useful for non-inspired fighters. What I instead propose is that they'll all have effects regardless, and that some of them might have hybrid effects or extra effects if you are savage or inspired. I don't really like bestial transformation at all, since it requires you to discard upgrades, which is something we already have to do a lot of. Also, it's vague if it actually is usable if you have no upgrades to start with, but I guess that'll be sorted in time. I would rather like to see something else here. Let's ditch this one and swap in the excellent Quicksilver Advance, which was one of my absolutely favorite ploys from them in version 1 of the game, with a very useful set of effects to choose from. Either make an out of sequence move or swap a charge token into a move token. Super useful and fun tech. Vampiric Might next is sort of okay, but pretty meh of an effect. The Vampiric Might upgrade of old was +1 damage if you are inspired, or +2 damage on a crit if you were bloodthirsted. So I propose this to buff the effect. If you are neither inspired or savage, keep the cleave ensnare effect, but give the option to instead choose +1 dice if you are inspired, or grievous if you're savage. Tenebrous form is pretty fine as it is, but remove the requirement to be inspired. That simply punishes a whole playstyle needlessly. Dark Transfusion is decent enough. It's a bit crap that it's a core ability though, but it might also be a tad bit strong if it wasn't. I think the inspired buff is a bit damaging, so maybe instead of the inspired/savage route for this one, let's just simply change it into within 2 or heck even within 3 hexes really, if that friendly fighter is Duval or Gorath, since they are the wizards of the warband, or at least they were, and the ones in the warbands that are supposed to be more fine-tuned for this sort of thing. As a hybrid effect, I think that having the option to dump or increase your hunger instead of healing could be a neat little way to fast-track your inspired or getting savage route. So yeah, make it into range 3 for Gorath and Duval, and keep it range 1 for the other 2 fighters. Then add the hybrid effect of adding or removing hunger instead of healing if you don't really need to heal. There's obviously a ton of other cards that could have made it into this War Scroll. How about Dark Apotheosis and Blood Vial? Excellent cards that could have easily made the cut. Lots of missed opportunities and identity lost, in my opinion, on this War Scroll. And I really hope we see a glow up for the vamps in a future balance update. Let me know what you thought of my changes down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great beginning to the new year as well. Bye.